Now let's talk with Terry Hershey. Terry, great to have you back on the program again this season.
Very good to see you again.
I know our viewers appreciate your warm, affable, comfortable delivery and style, and I want to commend you. You've translated this really well into the power of pause. You used one of the stories from the book to illustrate that today. Let's start with, I guess, why is this so darn difficult for so many of us? We're so used to being, doing rather than being. The last thing you said is a very profound thought, I guess.
Yeah, Plato said a long time ago, obviously, what is honored will be cultivated. And so we have to ask ourselves, what do we honor in our culture? Not just what do we say, but what do we honor?
Right.
And there's no doubt that what we honor is hectic productivity. In fact, if you were someone to ask you, what are you doing anything this Friday? And God forbid if you say no, because they look at you like there's something wrong with you. I love this. One woman said to her husband, "What are you doing today?" He said, "Nothing." She said, "Nothing? That's what you did all day yesterday." He said, "I know, but I didn't finish." But the point is, what we honor is not just the busyness, but the fact that we have to feel ashamed if we're not doing something.
This whole new lifestyle for
Yes.
you, Terry, is really a Rubicon moment here in this formula of becoming more by doing less. I mean, there's no turning back for you, right?
No.
Do you ever feel guilty?
Yes.
In what way? In what way? Expand on that a little bit for us.
Because the feel guilty is people see, my first knee-jerk is, of course, I have to justify the lifestyle.
Of doing less?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to justify cutting back on my schedule. I have to justify, no, just a minute, I'm not going to do the cell phone. I have to justify, no, I'm just going to hang out for a minute and do poetry or read or whatever it is. That somehow I have to pretend that that is as important as this other part of my life. And so that's where the guilt comes in. But slowly, you eliminate that. And you realize, Charlie Parker, the great jazz saxophonist, said, if it ain't in you, it can't come out of your horn. And so what I realized, the Rubicon, I love the word, is that the more I feed that other part of myself, that pausing part, just the being part, the more I feed that, the stronger I get toward that feeling guilty or feeling like I need to explain it or feeling I need to justify it. Because I feel more present, too.
But the more you have to offer, if you're feeding yourself in that way, that's the paradox of it, isn't it?
Because think about the multitasking thing. I'm multitasking. I'm not really here.
Right.
I'm not listening to you.
In the book, you talk about, I just love the imagery as the day welcomes dawn, you say, I think, and you call the sky a pageant, and then you move into the backlighting over the mountains that change into a tangerine. I guess I wonder, for you, Terry, the importance of visual stimuli. I mean, that ever-shifting underlying meaning of visual stimuli in our lives from dawn until dusk, from a kind of joy and melancholy even at the same time as images shift.
Yeah, the stimuli, and this is a very practical thing, because people say, you know, Terry, I like the sanctuary thing, but what do I do when I'm there? You know, as if it's a contest or something.
Right.
And here's the one practical thing I say, be aware of your senses. That's the stimuli part. In other words, while I'm here, wherever I am, what do I see? What do I smell? What do I hear? What do I taste? What do I touch? In other words, if I know that, then I'm present. And if I'm present, there's the likelihood that I can be more real and more available to receive or give or whatever's going on in our encounter. And so that's very important. I want people to be connected. That's why I love when Moses was asked to take off his shoes. I don't think it's because there was anything religious about taking off their shoes. I think God just wanted Moses to touch the dirt with his feet.
I know how much the garden is so important to you and to me. I have a postage stamp garden in the
those
city.
are the good kind.
But you know, as a metaphor for beauty and peace, passion. But I want to ask you about the dandelions in your garden. As you say in your book, they're a reminder of spiritual imperfections.
Yes.
Say more.
Well, I am a hypocrite. I do fight wars with my dandelions. I had this one pond we were building, because we gardeners, we apologize for the imperfections. And I had this one pond that was not getting built. It was 5 or 6 years, it was supposed to be built. So I was being left, and it was just filled with dandelions because I had been ignoring it. And there was a group visiting my garden, and I was touring them around. I was keeping them away from that. Please don't look there. And this one woman is standing over there at the edge, and I hadn't really looked at it through anybody else's eyes. And there's this big lake of dandelions, and then a river that I had built that had not been a river yet, that was all dandelions. It looked like someone had took a vat of paint. And she said, this is the most exquisite garden design idea I have ever seen.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, I know, I just thought of it last year.
Well, you know, the garden analogy made me think of something recently that happened too with my son. He's starting to get into more of exploring different things, and we had him outside looking at flowers, and we were teaching him how to smell the flower, to stop and smell the flower. And then he was walking into his daycare facility one day, and there was a little pot of flowers there, and he stopped without prodding to stop and smell the flower. And I thought, boy, if I could bring that sense, stopping to pause, like you said, but I've been accused of the same thing in my life, of just going for many years and not really relishing in what can happen in those moments. I get it intellectually, but I don't necessarily do it and make the time and the space for it. Even if it's the 5 or the 10 minutes, like you talk about, it can really feed you in a huge way.
And it's something you really, it's a literally something I practice. Even if I don't do it well each day, it's that 5-minute stopping.
You have to say the name of your son is Luke,
My son
beautiful
Luke,
Luke,
yes.
and
Yes.
your son is
Zach.
Zach. In our final moment, can you tell us about Zach? He's 11 now.
Zach is 11. He's in 6th grade, and
How is he a part of this formula? In
oh,
your life?
what I love about I live on an island, and we have acreage, and we have fruit and plants and trees, and he lives outside. He knows outside life, and I was complaining the other day because the raccoons were tearing up my garden, and I was just beside myself. And he said, Dad, you need to know everybody has raccoons in their life. So he gives me great sermon material, shall we say.
I can imagine. Well, Terry, I wish we had so much more time. This is a great book.
Thank you.
We hope it does really well for you, and it's very simple but very profound in its own way. So,
Thank you.
The Power of Pause, Terry Hershey.
Thanks.